The audible thud when Terry fell to the ground silenced everyone, effectively cutting off all laughter and cheers. The crowd shared dismayed looks, unable to comprehend what just happened. What was going on? Didn't Terry win? Why did he spit out blood? Had it merely been a narrow win? Just as everyone was stuck in disbelief, a silhouette slowly walked out of the ruined arena. Even the dust in the air seemed to disperse and create a path for him. When the person reached the top of the platform, the audience could finally see Dustin's handsome face. Dustin stood proudly with his hands in his pocket as he studied his unconscious opponent calmly. Meanwhile, everyone's jaw dropped. They thought that Terry had been the one who won, but things have completely changed. Terry was lying on the ground, injured, while Dustin was completely unscathed. It was obvious who the winner was. No way. Terry Doyle lost. Holy smokes. Barlerno's martial art genius and the 13th person on the Heavenly Immortals lost to a nobody. Who the hell is that guy? How was he able to injure Mr. Terry? That's insane. There was an uproar as everyone stared at Dustin like he was a monster. Although it was hard for them to come to terms with the fact that Terry had lost, what they saw wasn't a lie. Terry had been completely destroyed. Impossible. There's no way Terry would lose to that guy. My eyes must be deceiving me. Maggie shook her head and rubbed her eyes, trying to deny what she saw. She refused to believe that a mere nobody had taken down the genius in their family. When did he become so strong? Claudia's eyes widened in shock. She thought that Dustin was just a normal divine-level martial artist who could only defeat someone of Bennett's caliber. Instead, he had completely triumphed over Terry. Had she been looking down on the wrong person this entire time? He won. How is that possible? Gordon was aghast, his eyes filled with disbelief. He actually survived. Zeke was sweating buckets now. He wasn't bluffing. Zoe gulped, unable to remain calm. Natasha wasn't wrong. He is different. Adriana mumbled to herself, her eyes fixed on Dustin. He won. Our leader won. After getting over the shock, Nelson leaped up and began hugging his men. From now on, their gang was going to become more powerful than ever. Sis, he won. Dustin won. Ruth cheered excitedly. Of course, he did. There's no way my man would lose. Natasha's shock turned to pride, and she lifted her head haughtily. All she hoped for was for Dustin to come back to her safely, but she never imagined he would give her such a big surprise. I knew there was more to that guy. Hector smiled, relieved. Although he was sure that Dustin came prepared, it was still difficult to defeat Terry. Impossible. How did my son lose? Phil was devastated. He spun around and looked at Paul. Sir Paul, didn't you say that my son had a 90% chance of winning? How did things come to this? I think you misunderstood something here, Paul responded calmly. I said Dustin had a 90% chance of winning. Your son only had 10. What? Phil stiffened. It turned out that everything had been in his head. Still, he couldn't understand or accept how a nobody like Dustin was able to defeat his son, who was a genius. Mr. Doyle, thank you for Tempest of the 18 Swords, Hector suddenly said, causing Phil's face to darken. Phil thought that today's battle would work in their favor by boosting their reputation. However, not only had his son lost the battle, he also lost their family heirloom. It was a devastating loss. Dustin's victory also taught everyone something. There was always someone far stronger than you, even if you were the strongest person around. Also, from today onward, Barlerno Martial Arts would see a dark horse, someone more talented and stronger than Terry. Useless fools. Tyler Grant, who stood amidst the audience wearing a mask, humphed and walked away. He hid his identity because he thought he'd get to see an amusing show, yet Terry had been useless and couldn't even defeat a pretty boy like Dustin. It was such a waste of time. Back at the wreckage, Dustin looked at Terry below him and reminded, "You've lost. Remember what I said earlier? Your family better stay out of my way from now on." He turned to walk off the stage. "No. I haven't lost yet." Gritting his teeth, Terry clambered to his feet wildly. "Go to hell." Locking his eyes on Dustin's back, Terry grabbed his sword and thrust it toward Dustin. "Watch out." Natasha cried out, but it was too late. Terry's attack was too quick and silent, making it hard to detect. So, before anyone realized what was going on, the tip of Terry's sword was already pressing into Dustin's back. Haha, I'm still the winner in the end. Terry cackled. Quickly, his laughter stopped and his smile froze when he realized that his sturdy blade hadn't even hurt Dustin. It didn't even impale the man's flesh. Terry wanted to turn things around. What a joke. What do you think you're doing? Dustin snapped, slowly turning his head. This was an open battle where everyone had seen the results, so how dare Terry try to pull a fast one on him? Were all Doyle family members so shameless? Die. Die. Rot in hell. True energy burst forth from Terry and into his sword as he tried to piece through Dustin's body, and the blade eventually bent under the force. Still, no matter how hard Terry tried, he just couldn't injure Dustin. Fool. Dustin humphed. He stopped going easy on Terry and planted his fist into Terry's abdomen. There was a bang at Terry's abdomen, and his core shattered to pieces. Terry flew backward from the force like a ragdoll, blood spurting everywhere. It caused an uproar among the crowd when his body landed in the audience zone, and the Doyle family's blood started boiling after seeing how Terry's core was destroyed.